And we're live, and we're back. It is New Comic Book Day Book Club. We're here for the Susan Spec, and so are you. My man, White Whale Comics is here.
Hello.
And he looks like he's wearing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre shirt.
Yeah, it says free hugs on it.
Free hugs. There you go. Nice. And we're joined by our Puerto Rican partner, Mr. Borinken Comics.
What's going on, everybody? Mr. Broken Comics, Boink Comics, anything but Borinken.
And I put the link to his channel down below. If you have not seen any of his programs, you can sub him up there. He's also on Instagram, so you can find him posting stuff over there as well. And I see he's in the chat as well. And surviving a tropical storm as well.
Yeah, we were supposed to get a storm today, but thank God it fell apart on its way here. So that's always good. I mean, we still have to be on the lookout until like September 20th or something like that when hurricane season ends. But I'm glad it didn't come today because I had this to do.
That's right. We're going to be talking that Texas Blood issue 2. And you can see he's got his copies, his issue 1 copies on the wall there behind him.
Right here.
Ready
signed
to go.
copies from Chris. Those are signed by Chris Cordon. And then I have another copy coming in signed by the writer and the illustrator. So that's very cool.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, let me say hello to the chat real quick, and then we can dive right in. We had Simon R. right off the bat saying, good evening, everyone. We're doing well. We got a new image book to be chatting about. Ruben Guzman, who I saw again at my LCS today, and I think that was from today, actually. He was wearing that same mask when I saw him today in that picture. So I don't know if he took that picture today, Ruben. Good to see you, man. Andy is here. He's hanging out. He was with us just a little bit ago. And Borinken Comics is there. And Simon R. is giving us some symbols. Hopefully not gang related. Hopefully just, hanging out.
Thumbs up, peace sign, thumbs up.
I don't know if that's like, it feels like A, B, up, down, left, right. Cheat code of some kind. If you all missed it, we reviewed issue number 1 on this show about 4 weeks ago. And Alec was blown away by it. He was in for the long haul. He's like, down. I was kind of on the fence about it. I was like, it was good. I didn't know if I loved it. It seems like the community really, really, really loved it. I heard a lot of people talking about how much they dug it. Borinken, how did you feel about issue 1?
Issue 1 was a great read. The pace of the book, I thought it was amazing. It started off mostly just information about who the sheriff is and what we were doing there in his house, his birthday, the casserole dish, and everything else. And at the end of the issue, it ended with a huge cliffhanger. I don't know if you guys had the same feeling, but I felt like I was watching a Charles Bronson movie from back in the maybe 60s or 70s. So I was sure to come back for that issue too.
I think we mentioned some Coen brothers and Cormac McCarthy thematic elements for sure as far as the flavor of this, because it is very unique. So then I guess you want to go around the room, quick scores for issue 2. Alec, what did you think of issue 2? What would you grade it?
Like in a vacuum, I'd give it like a 9. And I'll get to why I say that in a moment.
In a mop or in a Swiffer? What would you give it in a Swiffer?
In a Swiffer, I don't know. I don't know what that means.
And what about you? What would you give issue 2 out of 10? What would you give it?
It was a good read. It was definitely a good read. A lot of new information. Overall, including the art and everything else, like an 8.
And I would probably be somewhere in that range too, an 8. Maybe I haven't quite decided how I'm feeling about this issue. I feel like some of the things I liked, it felt very much in keeping with the first issue, but some of the things I liked maybe weren't there in the same quantity. And the stuff I didn't like maybe was more of that. We got a few more people in the chat before we start deep diving here. Bearded Comic Bro Greg is in the chat. Hello. Perry is lurking, but he's probably already gone. So hello, you. Charlie's here. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Aggressively Relaxing is here. Thank you very much. He says, comic beards unite. Ruben Guzman is saying, assemble the beards. TK is here. I know he's a big fan of Texas Blood. And K Titus, arigato. He says, Boricua look at that handsome. Yeah, there he is. So, Alec, do you want to try to do a summary in some way of this issue?
Sure. So it starts off with them finding this dead body. The sheriff gets called. He's painting this model plane. He gets a call that there's this body. He goes and finds it. Then we get this other character who sees a ghost, maybe, who then gets the call that his brother has been killed in Texas or is dead in Texas. He gets into this like weird kind of conversation with his girlfriend or wife, or whoever it is. She's like, I want to come with you and support you. And he's like, no, you wouldn't understand. Like you wouldn't fit in there basically. But very vague conversation about like how she wouldn't understand. You don't really know what he means by that. And so he goes down there. Everyone kind of like seems to hate him or have some sort of, I don't know, grudge against him, or at least like because of his brother have a grudge against him.
Let me see if I can. There we go. Sorry.
the sheriff then comes to this diner where he is, who brings him to the police station. And they kind of chat, and he then finds out that his brother's been murdered. The kind of the overall gist of it. Did I miss anything important?
It's these kind of two stories. We have our sheriff, and we have this new guy coming to town to learn about what happened to his brother. I don't know. My first feeling was that this issue, story-wise, has almost no connection to issue 1. Did anybody feel that way, or am I just out there?
That's why I said my rating in a vacuum, because this could have also felt like an issue 1.
Right?
Like I would assume that things from the first issue and this issue are going to intersect at some point, but it wasn't like we didn't pick up where we left off.
Yeah. What about, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I totally agree. If for any reason you didn't read issue 1 and you jumped in issue 2, you were all caught up. The only thing you were missing is that the sheriff had a birthday and he was supposed to have a casserole dish. But other than that, if you started in issue 2, you got basically all the new, not the new information, but everything that they want to start sharing with us regarding the brothers and the person that was killed.
And I don't know if you guys felt, I really missed the casserole dish. I wanted to know what was next with the casserole dish personally. I feel like we missed the next little piece in that moment.
Yeah, I felt like the funny to say story in the first issue, because there wasn't a whole lot of it, but the story in the first issue I found much more compelling than strangely than this murder story. I mean, I'm very intrigued as to why there's so much, kind of like hatred for this character in this town, why he doesn't want to go back. I don't know if you read the blurb in the back, but the writer basically said like he used Hamlet as a big inspiration of this character kind of in this unwelcome land.
For not the sheriff, for the new guy?
Yes, for the new guy.
I don't even remember his name. I'm sorry.
So, but like it definitely feels like the first issue was to establish the sheriff as a character.
Travis.
And then this issue is kind of like where the story is actually going.
Did you guys, by any chance, I don't know. I'm not gonna say disappointed. I just thought maybe this was gonna go somewhere else. And when they said that the guy was murdered, I thought at first it was a suicide. On that first issue, I thought it was a suicide because on the first issue you have this on the brother that doesn't have a name right now. I don't believe we got a name. I don't remember at least. The guy that died, he's in an argument with his wife or his girlfriend, right? So I thought this was gonna go somewhere like the hills have eyes, where there's something going on that everybody's starting getting upset, or there's something in the air that's making people get angry or anything like that, and then he ended up killing himself. That's kind of where I thought that was gonna go, but it's we're gonna get a crime book.
I mean, I do feel like there is a bigger machine behind all of what's going on here.
Especially because of, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Especially because of like the dream the sheriff had in the first issue, and then this vision that this character had in this second issue of his brother in his hallway. There's definitely like some sort of suggestion of something supernatural.
Yeah, a supernatural monster element. We talked a little zombie vampire, I think, last time because of the story of the cave and the glowing beast thing, whatever that monster was. A couple more people jumped in the chat, so real quick, hello to Rob Boswell. And the comic poser said he was writing about that second appearance of the Dish in his blog right now. There you go. Yeah, so I do feel like there's something bigger to the periphery of what we're being given.
It could definitely still happen. I mean, we're still looking for the person that killed him, right? So maybe that person is somewhat possessed or something, any kind of magic that made him do it. Because there's that horror element in issue 1 that was in no way, shape, or form talked about in issue 2.
And for me, that was probably my biggest disappointment with the issue. Was I didn't necessarily need like a linear story, and I certainly wasn't expecting a linear story. I expected the issue 2 to be bringing in some new characters and expanding out what we had gotten. But I was hoping that there would be a bit more of a through line as opposed to the sort of jagged cut and jagged start that these 2 issues felt like they gave me. Hello, Gore Vidal. Thank you for coming by. Didn't go the expected supernatural route. If it had, this would have been the last issue I bought. Ooh, I hope it doesn't go in that direction. He is hoping to avoid that. Okay, interesting.
Well, I mentioned Fargo last week, the TV show, and I kind of didn't really spoil anything by saying this, but one of the seasons has this like vague alien suggestion to it. And if it goes in that direction where it's like not overt and you don't see like zombies or ghosts or, some like, but it's just like kind of this underlying thing of like, is there something going on? Like I'd totally be down for that more so. So I wouldn't go so far as Gore did just by saying like I'm going to stop buying it because I'm enjoying it enough to keep reading it. But
Magic. Sorry, I saw Newbie Comics and Magic Lasso. Thank you for this. Is not Comic After Dark. Thank you for coming by.
But yeah, so if it's like more subtle and kind of like suggested, I'd find that a lot more interesting because I find that like in a lot of horror movies anyway. Like I don't know if you guys saw Insidious.
Yeah.
I felt like that movie was way scarier when you didn't see what the thing was, and then at the end where they showed the creature, and they started like showing all this stuff that like actually related to what was happening. I found it kind of comical.
So traveling to the dark other world or whatever ruined it.
I think like a lot of times your imagination and not seeing stuff is a lot creepier and a lot more effective than it is by showing stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I just looking down the line, I like where they're going with this, but hopefully it doesn't turn out like Roto Bones did. I don't know if you guys read Roto Bones.
No.
But Roto Bones had a creature, like a mysterious creature that was a cannibal, and you heard of him. You saw him a few times, but the book ended, and we never got to know what that thing was, what did it do, why was it created, or anything like that. It was left on a cliffhanger, and I don't know if Volume 2 is coming out, but I think it's been a year or so, and nothing has happened. There's no news on it. So hopefully this book doesn't do that for us, the readers. But I don't know if you guys had this or catch this vibe where maybe the Travis, the new character, and his brothers maybe were like really bad news back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Alex's point, sometimes getting an answer and getting a supernatural element just gives you more questions and you want more stuff. And I think that the hope is that they don't go that route. You know, for me, it's a Twin Peaks kind of thing. Like, how much of the supernatural do you want, or do you just accept the fact that there's just something off about this town?
Yeah. I mean, so another example, I don't know if either of you have watched the new Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix.
Not yet. Is it good?
It's very interesting. And obviously, you know, if you know the old Unsolved Mysteries, or just can, you know, posit by the title that, you know, you don't really get conclusions to these stories.
No.
But it doesn't make it necessarily less satisfying, because it's more about the journey and like the mystery. And yeah, like, of course you'd like a little bow on it sometimes, but sometimes it's just like not necessarily necessary. Like, sometimes some open-ended stuff is like, I'm not saying you should Sopranos it, just have it end on in the middle of spoilers for End of Sopranos.
But like, as long as the character's journey is fulfilled, you don't need every single periphery answer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about what was working for you guys in this issue. Is there stuff that you felt like really was on point?
The artwork.
The artwork was really good. Story-wise, it's, I guess, all the questions that I now have on why these brothers are so hated in the town. Also, I don't know if it's just me that thinks about this, or few of these things, but I want to hear about from the wife. He had a wife. That's the person he was arguing with in issue 1. So I want to see who she is. Could it have been her who killed them? I mean, she has a motive, right? She was the one getting maybe beaten up in her house. So I want to know who she is. I want to start looking into suspects who did this. So yeah.
Personally, like, for me, there were moments that I really loved, and I would say like the stuff with the waitresses was like, I kind of dig the stuff they're hinting at, but it was like entirely like so long. Like,
It was a big chunk of the book.
Yeah, I didn't know that I needed all of it. I got the hint of it. I almost preferred the hotel manager and the weird ways he like spoke with him, and then like just shut the door and walked away. Like that to me,
he's just like, I don't want any trouble. He's like, why would there be trouble? He just goes, he just like shuts the door on him.
Yeah. He says, why would there be trouble? He's like, well, hope you enjoy your stay, sir. Wait, why would there be?
Yeah.
So like,
it's funny. It's almost like I got this impression that either he doesn't necessarily remember everything, or that people misremember him, because he seems like genuinely surprised by a lot of people's reactions to him. And the way people are reacting to him, and like I think the waitress even says something about how like, about him like not being on drugs or something like that. So it's almost like he's misremembering, or just like has a block of what happened, because he seems like pretty confused at people's reactions to him, but they all seem like pretty direct about why they don't like him.
Chris is here.
What's up, buddy?
Good seeing you, Chris. Thanks for coming by, man. Yeah, it does seem like there is some glitch for him where he clearly knows that that this is not going to be easy revisiting this town, and that people have a negative view of him. I just don't know that he expected their responses to be so intense. For whatever reason, his understanding of what happened doesn't equal with what their response is.
Yeah, even the sheriff is kind of like, you know, he's being professional, but at the same time, like, he's being kind of a dick to him at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, he basically is hinting around like, maybe I'm going to arrest you, hey, maybe not, and you should definitely come with me, and I'm here to protect you from the townspeople. Was there stuff that we did? I mean, Alec mentioned the artwork. Was there other things that you really felt like were working in this issue?
I don't usually I don't usually enjoy comics that take more than half of the book to explain a situation. I mean, sometimes I'm not like Perry where I just need drawings, right? But but sometimes when the book gets way too wordy, I don't know. I shut off. But all the information that gave us on this book, it was really good. I like the whole information on the brothers and how people, we get the hint that maybe they were not good news back in the day, or maybe they did something to someone. All of that, it created I'm intrigued by it, so that definitely does bring me back. I mean, that's the only reason I'm reading books like Red Mother, which is completely garbage, but I'm still reading it because I want to know what the hell is going on there.
I need answers.
I need answers to why this is
Yep.
so bad.
Overdahl says in Bloodlines at the
Yeah.
end, Condon said that the genesis for the show came after he saw the film HUD, based on Larry McMurtry's novel, and HUD is a ruthless character for sure. Okay, interesting. So, yeah, I can see some of the Texas connections there, and clearly you're talking about another show. But
the Bloodlines is like the postscript thing.
No, I meant Issues was saying he missed our handsome.
Oh, Mr. Handsome Faces. Yeah.
Yeah, Bloodlines is the little, for people that don't know, is the little like editorial blurb at the end here. It's not the TV show on Netflix.
And there's also, I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a QR code where you can scan and get a playlist for like music for the issue.
I didn't see it.
More and more comics are doing that, where they're including music you can listen to.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool idea.
Cool.
I thought about doing that when I wrote my comic, but I couldn't figure out, like, I wanted to basically soundtrack it so it would like fit as you read it, but obviously that's not possible.
You can tell them, on this page.
Yeah, it's like those old records that like bing when you're supposed to turn the page.
You're giving them an edited mixtape is what you're doing. A tiny peek of White Whale around my blog window, and it looks like he vastly disapproves of my writing. It is terrifying. Some people commenting on Red Mother. Lost me after 4 issues. Couldn't keep doing that one. More power to you. Red Mother is at issue 6. If you want to save money, just reread Red Mother issue 1 6 times. The soundtrack is the one question I ask every author I interview, says Cope.
Oh, interesting.
Nice. I pre-order 1 in 10 of issue 7, though, because it is too pretty of a cover thing.
Yeah, man. Well, cover buys, they get us all. Get the best of us.
Let me show you guys something real quick. So I was talking to Edwin recently, right? The comic jabroni, and because he's going to different stores in Georgia where he is now, right? We were talking, and he's telling me how he's having to introduce himself to new people all the time so he can record in stores and everything else. And I had this idea of the QR thing that we saw in the comics, so I did this, and I told him that maybe this is something that he should work on, because all you have to do is you pull it out like a business card, and all you have to do is you open your camera and the people are there in your Instagram or your Facebook or your YouTube or something.
Yeah, I was going to do that a while back when I was thinking about making business cards.
Yeah, so this is a very handy thing. Now that I'm selling books, also I always throw this in there just in case they want to follow me on Instagram. Which, by the way, guys, I have a giveaway which I'll talk about in the end if John gives me a chance.
Ooh. Yeah.
And we'll do that. Oh crap! It fell down.
Yeah. So
all the restaurants down here, I don't know if you guys they're doing it up there too, but all their menus are QR codes now.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because of the COVID thing.
Yep.
That makes sense. So, I mean, I don't really know where to go with this conversation. For me, I feel like I don't have a lot of impulse to read more, and I guess that would this story, because of the lack of connectivity. I feel like I don't know what's going on or even where it's going to be going. I don't know the connection between it's Randy and his dead brother Travis, or the first case that we saw with the casserole dish and the dead guy in that story. I don't know the connective tissue enough that's really motivating me to want to keep reading this.
Yeah, it felt like very episodic.
So you don't think the guy that died in the car in the first issue is the same one in this issue? Because I thought it was the same person. I don't know.
I don't think it can be, because the sheriff saw him die, right? Like, he was there when the guy shot himself or died in the car, and like, why would that body then be in the desert? So I thought the same thing too, but I couldn't connect why the body was just like out in the desert then.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was the same guy. Maybe like the car was dragged out and it's the guy on the floor. But I think you're right too, because he does say something about the buzzers and everything else, which the buzzer thing I thought was hinting at another body. Like, this is gonna continue happening because the buzzers were not right in top of them; they were kind of a little bit far away. So I thought that was a hint as there's more bodies in the desert.
Or if I mean, obviously the sheriff was the only one there when the guy shot himself in the first issue. Like, maybe he could have dragged him out of the car if it is the same guy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
They asked him. They're like,
one of these.
They ask him, like, do you know him? And he's like, well, I did. So he knows who the victim is.
Yeah.
I can't find my issue 1 to get a look at the first dead body, but I didn't think it was the same guy.
We got it.
He dumped him out of the car, took the casserole dish, went home, and waited for somebody to call in a dead body on the side of the road.
Priorities, the casserole dish.
I found it interesting that Terrell told his wife that outside of Austin, Texas is a different country. As someone who lived in Austin and various places in Texas, Austin is a different country.
Yeah, Austin is not Texas.
That's what I hear, yeah.
All right, so the guy in issue 1 had a hat. And
have any facial hair? Or?
Yeah, he has a beard.
Because the dead body beard. This is the image we have of the body.
Let me take a look at it over here, because now I was thinking it was maybe the same person, but
yeah, no, the guy in the first issue only has a soul patch.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a different guy.
It isn't the same person, says Corvidal. No, Condon said in an interview the first issue was a single story, that issue 2 he was introducing a new character, a writer, and would begin an actual story arc.
So I think the first issue is kind of like almost like a preview book, like a mini series where it like set up the world and now they're actually going to dive into the story.
Maybe. I don't know. So for those are some of the reasons that keep me as a reader disinterested in reading more. I don't know. Did that affect your interest in getting another issue?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's funny because it's, Sean Phillips' son does the art in this. And I felt like it was really similar to that latest Criminal run that we talked about where, it kind of, the first issue and the second issue didn't really have a lot to do with each other. So, I mean, if every issue is just totally in a different direction, that'll drive me nuts. But if it's the sort of thing where, we kind of go in different directions and we meander a bit, but things interlace and overlap and, we get to a point that everything kind of comes together, I'm into that.
What about you, Borinken? How do you feel about the connectivity and your interest in reading further issues?
So yeah, the difference, or being so different from issue 1 to issue 2, where we mostly got an interview, that's all we had, does affect the interest, but I'm still gonna get issue 3 because there's a lot of questions that need to be answered in my head. But if it does continue where we're just getting basic information or background information, and we don't see this horror aspect that issue 1 had, there's a possibility I won't end the run, because I was mostly interested because of the horror aspect of the book.
Could either of you tell me who you think the main character is for the story?
Well, I would have thought it was the sheriff based on issue 1, but now I think it's this brother who's come back to town.
Yeah, I also thought it was the sheriff, but now we're gonna get this other player in the story that may be the main event or the main story.
Yeah, he seems like the main character to me. Like he seems like he is going to be the one that we follow, and the sheriff might just be this supporting character. I don't know. The main character is the casserole dish.
Bearded Comic Bro is a really good comment right above that too.
I just want more casserole dish, maybe an entire issue from the POV of the casserole dish, like a pizza dog scenario. There you go.
I'd read that.
That'd be for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep reading it. I enjoyed, like I said, like both issues in a vacuum, more than enough to keep reading it. I mean, just have to see where it goes.
Yeah, so I'm probably off of this book. I'll probably be waiting for a trade or something like that for later on, I think, if I decide to go back down this road. Yeah, sounds like cool.
Yeah, I'm drumming. Speaking of things that should wait and trade, can I change the subject really quickly?
Absolutely, go for it.
So this book came out this week that I almost didn't buy. It's called Hedra from Image. And it's like this weird oversized format, which is why I didn't buy it. Almost didn't buy it. So I was like, I'll just wait for a trade. But it is super cool. It is totally, there's no words in the whole thing. And it's all just like.
Can I blow that up? Hold on, give me a second.
This like cool space story. And it's all like these really interesting.
That's a Perry-proof book.
So I really enjoyed it. Like, I almost wish we had talked about it, but it would have been really hard to talk about because there is no dialogue in it. So, but
it's open to interpretation.
Is it an ongoing or?
I think I'm not sure. To tell you the truth.
I'll have to check with my LCS and see.
It kind of has like an ending, so it might not. But
you liked it though. You thought it was good.
I'd say it's worth checking out. It's large, so you don't know where to put it, and it's $6, so it's expensive, but it's a very unique read. I mean, not like for an Image comic, it's a very unique read. I'll say that.
Yeah, I didn't get that much today. I got that Texas Blood, and then I got X Factor and X-Men. That was pretty much my haul for today.
Its size scared me. That's what she said. Says issues.
I highlighted that while you were.
Bearded Comic Bro said I almost bought it. It seemed too smart of a comic for me.
I only picked up the Texas Blood too. A lot of what Marvel is doing right now is surrounding the Empire thing, so I'm not gonna grab any of that. I'm only grabbing Thor and Venom, and I was lucky enough to grab another copy of issue 5 of Thor, the zombie variant, for cover price.
Nice. It's a hot book.
I did grab.
More than likely, I'll flip it because I already have 2 copies of cover A. So.
Oh yeah. That book's going to continue to be something special, I think, for a good while here until people start seeing what's going on with Black Winter and all that. I grabbed the trades for Philadelphia Volume 1, and I've never read Wicked and the Divine, so I grabbed the first trade for that as well. Nice. So
I really like Philadelphia until like issue maybe 4, and after 4 I fell off the book. I still grabbed issue 5 just because I wanted to end the arc, but after issue 4 I was completely uninterested anymore. Issue 3, I think it's a bloodbath, really interesting, very cool, everything. But then issue 4, it comes down again, and I thought it was supposed to be a war, but then it's not. So,
well, I don't know anything about it. People were just telling me how great it was, so I thought I'd give it a go.
Do you think that people are? Because you said the thing about like, let's see where Black Winter goes. You think people are like specking harder on it because of how much Null has gone up in value? It's like
it's surely connected. I mean, at this point, Donny Cates is a spec machine, and I think anytime he introduces a new character or changes a character or whatever, I feel like people are just buying it in bulk and hoping that it'll be the next Cosmic Ghost Rider or whatever.
It's funny because especially with like Null, has anyone else besides Donny Cates ever have used him yet?
No, I don't think so.
So it's original character.
Right, but I mean, he's not appeared in any other books besides Donny Cates books.
Right.
So
there's a hint of him being in God of Thunder, the Jason Aaron run, but he's Donny Cates has said multiple times that Null does not appear in that book, although it does seem like it does, because if you look at Thor, God of Thunder, first few issues, when he falls from the sky, we get all that same information in Venom issue 4, which is the origin story for Null. It's basically panel to panel with everything that happened in Thor, God of Thunder. And if you notice on issue 1 of Venom, the statue that he's sitting on, it's the person that fell off the sky. It looks exactly the same. So those books are connected, but Donny Cates is saying that no, it's an original character to Venom, and it has nothing to do with God of Thunder, but it definitely does.
But I mean, to my point, I feel like until Null appears in the greater MCU, Marvel Comics universe, not Marvel Cinematic Universe, and like appears and starts making an impact outside of Donny Cates' books, like when Donny Cates leaves Marvel or stops writing the books, he might just disappear, and then where is until he becomes a universe-spanning character, like I think the hype is so overblown.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the community that feel the same way about Punchline. I'm not going to go into Punchline because there's something I want to talk to you guys real quick regarding that whole Venom run. But everybody's talking about the same thing with Punchline. Like, as long as Punchline doesn't show up in Detective Comics, she's a nobody. The hype it's overrated for her on the Batman book. As long as until she appears on Detective Comics. Once you're in Detective Comics, you're a cemented character for the rest of the Batman mythos.
Tynan has said, like, I'm going to plan on continuing to use her. But again, like, once he leaves Batman, if the next writer is like, I don't really like Punchline, I'm not going to use her, then, she's just forgotten. Look at Joker's Daughter. Remember that when that was like a big hype book?
Yeah. And a few months ago, we got the generic Joker or the geriatric Joker from the old lady Harley run.
Yeah,
there was a lot of hype around that book, and nobody's mentioning him. He's not going to appear anymore, possibly unless he's in a Black Label story or something, because it's not in an original series. It's out of continuity.
So Chris is talking about the King in Black story that seems like Cates is building towards, and therefore the mini at the end has either to be his defeat or some kind of entrapment at the end. They're going to change Null in some fashion. That's his theory.
So sell now.
So I don't know, guys, if you heard, but that Marvel has the unlimited Marvel app that allows you to read comics and everything else, right?
Yeah, John.
So if you signed up for the program or the membership and everything else, you got Web of Venom Wrath for free, which is supposed to come out on September on paper, right?
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys read it or if you got the spoilers, but there's a huge reason why Wrath is now involved in the Null mythos. And I went ahead and because I got that information and I bought a book, I want to show you guys. And I want to ask a question based on that book. Okay, so that is Marvel Team Ups issue 48. and the comic book collectors app has it as the first appearance of Wrath or Wraith. I don't know how it's pronounced. Wrath, it's a lot easier than Wraith, but it's his first appearance, right? But this was back in 1976. Down the line, the character went through some changes, and he was retconned to a Kree warrior in 2007. That's the book that's blowing up right now. It's going for $80,
The Annihilation
$90.
Conquest, right?
Yep, that's the one that's blowing up. But it's apparently the same character. Now, the market has decided that the one that's more valuable, it's when he was retconned into a Kree warrior instead of the first appearance back in 1976. So I was asking John, what would be more important to you, the original, the first time that Hulk appeared, or when Hulk became immortal? So at the end of the day, the market's gonna decide which book is more valuable. But to me, in my eyes, people should or might think of buying that team up, because if he's gonna get involved in this whole Null mythos and the whole Venom run, that's gonna blow up. Everything Donny Cates is doing with him, and then there's a hint in that digital book that there's another god in addition to Null, which is kind of like a counterpart. Everything a counterpart. Everything has a yin and a yang, the white and the black, and everything else. So there's Null, and there's the light god, which we are gonna get introduced in September. So I thought maybe I should grab that book now. It's very cheap. It's like $4. But the question is, would you guys think it's more important when a character is created, or um, whatever the writer at the time decides to do with that character, retcons him and does something else? What's more important to you guys?
I guess
I think it's so case by case. Like, it's so hard to pick. I mean, you compared Immortal Hulk and the first appearance of the Hulk, and obviously that's a pretty no brainer right now. Like that, like most people would definitely rather have the first appearance of the Hulk. But I think it would be case by case. I don't know that the character of Wrath I haven't found any interest in at this point. Versus Null, I still kind of curious, but I like a good villain, so I'm kind of curious about Null as a character. But I get what Alec and Chris are saying, because Chris is saying sell before November or be prepared for a long term hold.
And obviously it depends on how much you paid for the book too. Like I bought it at cover price, so I'm not out anything. Like, I'm out whatever the value is right now if I don't sell it, but I'm not like, oh, I have $200 invested in this book, so I better get my money back. But
go ahead.
No, finish. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, to that same point, like that's where my Venom 3 is. Like I bought it cover price, slabbed it. I'm just waiting to sell it at some point. So it's possible come before November I'm gonna be selling mine.
But to answer your question, I think like it really depends on how much the character changed in that sort of scenario. So if a character is like a hero and then they change him to a villain, or he is or she is like in the case of Wrath or Wraith or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it either, they change the whole origin story of the character. I really feel like it's kind of repurposing them, and so it is to me like kind of a different character.
Okay.
Yeah,
and again, for $4, like that's a good spec. Again, you're not going to be out too much if it doesn't pan out, but if it does,
Yeah. But taking that in consideration, and I read the book, the one that's coming out in September, the Web of Venom Wrath. I already read it. Based on that, people shouldn't be going out and buying the Annihilation Conquest, because he's gonna get retcon again.
Oh.
So based on that hype is gonna get shut down real quick. So I was gonna buy it, but now I'm not gonna buy it, because now he's getting new information, a new story, and everything else. So I wanted the team ups, because I thought, well, if it does go somewhere and somebody like Tom says something about it, or somebody like Jim say something about it, everybody's gonna go after that book.
Well, it sounds like issues, or at least Chris is saying that they're potentially. He's saying that there are two different characters. It's not necessarily a retcon if it's a new character with the same name, like a totally different character with a similar name, which wouldn't be a retcon. It would just be another character. Like there's been several characters with different names. The team up character is in 3 issues. It's a human character and not a Kree, which is later. That's what he's saying. The newer Wrath or Wraith was a Kree character. So is it the same one that's retconned or a totally different character? Yeah, exactly.
And when you look information, or you look up information for this Wrath character, what they tell you is that in 1976 it was his first appearance, but then later down the line, somebody else with a new creative team came in and they changed it. And then in 2007, a new creative team came in and they changed it again. So apparently it's the same character, but it's been going through some phases.
Which is the challenge, which I know is the complaint about these apps, is like if they're just making that up and saying it that way, are they spinning the spec, right? Or is it actually based on what Marvel is saying,
Yeah.
I dropped the link just a second ago for your Instagram so that people can find you on Instagram. But the link to his channel is in the description below. So if people want to find your channel or your Instagram, they can do that down below. You said you had a contest coming up you wanted to let people know about?
Yes. So I've had this contest for maybe like a week. My birthday was on the 13th. So I wanted to give out some books as a celebration to my birthday. And all I was asking for people was to leave a comment. That way the program that I do the randomized thing works. Otherwise, if you don't leave a comment, but you like the picture, or if you share it, that I can't choose you because the system is not going to recognize you. But I am giving away a few books that I know people are kind of into right now or very interested in. And that is going to be 2 Peach Momoko covers for Dr. Tomorrow and The Crow.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so cool. those 2. And then I was going to give also away Sleeping Beauties. That's Stephen King and his son did the story. One of these is the Ashcan and the other one is number 1. So I wanted to give out 2 Peach Momoko covers, and then because I'm a big indie guy, an indie comic book. So nice. Those are up for grabs. All you have to do is like the picture and leave a comment so I can help me choose the right person when it comes down to the randomizing thing.
Awesome. Perfectly.
You see the Peach Momoko dye variant is like going up now all of a sudden.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for issue 6.
For number 4 or 6, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just sold.
I had a Peach Momoko cover until I was like, oh wait, I guess I do.
I was telling John off air that I just sold my dye run. I had issues 1 through 6 or 1 through 7, something like that, and the Peach Momoko variant was there. So I was like, should I take this apart, maybe sell the rest of the books and then sell this one? But I thought, man, whatever. If anybody's interested, just let me get $50 and I'll send everything to you.
There you go.
So, Alec, you've got stuff coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, I got D&D. It's really getting wet and wild.
That honestly, I had a blast. That last time was amazing.
Yeah, it's I'm having some fun messing with you guys, and hopefully you won't all die this week.
Hey, I'm laying on the ground bloodied and dead at this point.
Yeah, and so is Big Will.
So there you go. Borinken, did you have anything coming up on your channel that people need to know about?
Right now, I'm mostly focused on my Instagram, everything Instagram related, Instagram live videos, posts, and everything else, giveaways, reviews. Not really creating content for YouTube right now, mostly because my internet sucks, and I've just been having a lot of issues with my internet. So, if you want to follow me, if you want to interact with me, best possible chance is through Instagram. And like I always say, I like to keep on the conversation there.
Perfect. And Alec, was there anything else coming up? I'm sorry, besides D&D? Book Club next week is going to be on White Whale's channel. And we're going to have Bear Island joining us, and we're going to throw back to some classic Claremont X-Men goodness. We're going to read God Loves, Man Kills, and the giant graphic novel-sized edition, although they've been releasing a two-part director's cut edition as well, that your LCS might have part 1. I don't think part 2 drops for another few weeks.
Because we're doing that because it's a grim release week.
Yeah, because next week looks about as good as this week. I only think I got a couple of free books next week. Oh, Brian just jumped in. Hello, take the time. Good to see you here, brother. So that is what we're reading next week. It sounds like Issue says he's got that. There you go. Boom. It's a great read. If you haven't read it, if you're a moderate X-Men fan or you're interested about the X-Men, it's a nice jumping on point. Classic story. Beautiful artwork. So it should be a lot of fun chatting about that one. As for me, I've got a ton of shows coming up this weekend. Friday night, doing The Wire, our final Wire thematic discussion. Saturday night, I'm talking sports movies with Bearded Comic Bro. So if you're tired of tons of auctions on Saturday night, you can put those on your phone and watch on the big screen some sports movie talk. So that'll be us on Saturday night. And then Sunday, I'm back with this guy doing some Dungeons and Dragons. That's it for me.
You're not doing your Saturday morning show with the girls?
Of course, every Saturday morning. Yeah, that definitely is going to happen. Alec used to tease me about that was like the one thing I would say every time. He would almost like mouth along.
That's fine. I mean, hey, I only do 2 shows a week, so that's all I have to plug. You plug your stuff, man.
Technically, you do 3 shows a week now.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yes, be good all, and I hope everybody has a great night. Happy New Comic Book Day, and feliz cumpleaños. A little bit late.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. Have a good night, everybody.